Hey, what's going on, you guys? This is Madam, and I'm coming back to you once again. And this time we're going to the Inquirer News, and this is about a black nurse fired after hospital falsely blame her for patient's death. Then she wins $20 million in court. I will list the article right in all of the details in the description. A woman of color who worked as a nurse at a Colorado hospital claimed she was racially discriminated against in 2019 after being blamed for the death of a 93-year-old patient and then fired for complaining about the incident. She has now been awarded $20 million. 41-year-old Dawn Cornick Joppy sued HCA Health One LLC, the parent company of the Medical Center of Aurora, in the United Districts Court in Colorado in April 2022, 3 years after she was fired following accusations that she was responsible for the death of an elderly woman suffering from septic shock and organ failure who was unconscious and on a ventilator. It's wild, Joffrey said in an interview. My life has been turned upside down. I never killed anyone. I'm a great nurse. As reports by Atlantic Black Star, following the family's decision to end life support and acting on directions from a respiratory therapist via phone, Joffrey withdrew the ventilator and comforted the family throughout the patient's passing. Even though a medical examiner ruled the death natural, the hospital blamed Joffrey for neglect. They accused her of acting outside of her scope and turning off her uh, the person's ventilator, possibly causing them to suffocate and suffer for 13 minutes. Standard procedure requires that the respiratory therapist, not the nurse, disconnect the ventilator, and the hospital denied that the therapist had instructed her to do so. The outlet reported that the Colorado Attorney General's office filed charges of manslaughter and neglect death of an at-risk person, both felonies against Joffrey in November of 2020. Still, they were dropped in September of 2021 in the interest of justice. Period. Period. Point blank. Joffrey was determined to fight the case. She argued that she knew the patient was unconscious and did not breathe even once during his time in the ICU. She was adamant in her claims, saying that the Medical Center of Aurora, TMAC, knowingly knowingly aggravated the case to defame her character and fire her due to her previous complaints of unfair treatment during her tenure. In the complaint, Joffrey, who joined the hospital in 2017, claimed she was repeatedly subjected to racial bias and mistreatment by staff, including being yelled at by a nurse named Lindsay Jordan, isolated and passed over for training opportunities, and passed on to others. She also said supervisors failed to act on her complaints and later issued a retaliatory performance plan. When she attempted to transfer to another unit, her application was abruptly dismissed. It quoted that she was subject to verbal and nonverbal slights and microaggressions designed to marginalize, segregate, and undermine her based on stereotypical and harmful views of black professionals. Despite prosecutors eventually dropping criminal charges brought against her, Joffrey said the accusations and termination disaster. Um, devastated her career and personal life, including separating her from her daughter due to financial hardship. Thankfully, in August of 2025, a jury found that the hospital had indeed retaliated against her and awarded her a $5 million in uh, compensatory and $15 million in punitive damages. Meanwhile, HCH Health One, the hospital's parent company, denied wrongdoing and has announced plans to appeal. Of course, they're going to appeal. Racial discrimination based on caste, color, and ethnicity is still widely relevant among people of color in several countries across the world. It is a shame that we even thought that we are in 20 even though we are in 2025, an era where technology, healthcare, and education opportunities are so advanced and wide. Certain people and systems are still rooted in outdated stereotypical beliefs, which are not only illegal but dangerous to the evolution of mankind. And that is the end of the article right there. Rightfully so. She should have sued. She was right to fight and, get her justice. The charges were dropped. They can appeal all they want, but the charges were dropped against her. And for them to go to the extent to actually pin a person's death on her, it says a lot about how people view people of color, especially black women. It seems, in my personal opinion, there is an assault on black women. Not to, take away from black men, black male professionals. They do share their share of, hardships and grief, and yeah, that's a very real thing on their side. But speaking and sticking to the article, as black professional women, regardless if it's in healthcare, entertainment, um, company, um, any higher level of, work, any type of work, uh, they are always most often expected to work 10 to 20 times harder than their counterparts, whether it be male or female. They're expected to not make any mistakes, and if they do make any mistakes, the smallest infraction will turn into a whole, just shut them down, shut them out, type of thing. And this is the system that we currently live in still in 2025, which is a disjustice when you have people like Tucker Carlson saying if he was to go to a hospital and he was to see a black doctor, he wouldn't accept the black doctor as his physician, even though that black doctor may be the person to actually save their life. They don't even want, like, their prejudice and stereotypical views is so deep, they wouldn't even want you to save their life. Like, that's like, it's like another form of, people voting against themselves, voting against their better judgment, and, you know things like that. Is so many ways that you can say it, but it's just very disheartening that even though we have achieved almost everything in this world that they have achieved, we are still, as people of color, looked at as less than. I can tell you countless of stories that I've heard and seen from other people where they got into Ivy League schools like Yale, Princeton, and the Asian students there and the white students there questioned the black students and stuff, like, well, how did you get in here? You must have gotten, you couldn't have gotten a SAT score that, or any type of accolades that would afford you the right to actually be here. So how did you actually get in here? Which again just continues to fan the flames of, you know, bigotry and racism and all of those things. You know, not looking for a person based off of their merit, based off of their ability to be able and be capable to perform the task or whatever is put in front of them, but merely based off the color of their skin and the apparent rampant ideology that for some reason people of color, black people, are beneath them. And it just boggles my mind, but I don't know, you guys. Let me know. Drop down in the comment section. I would definitely love to hear from you and get your input and your intake. So come chop it up with me. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And as always, you guys, thank you so much. I do appreciate you watching my videos or any of my videos. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, I'm going to get on up out of here. But always remember, be good to yourself first. Woke up looking for the complete hot key. Keep a horn up, that can see hot key. Pushing the blueprint, it's not a beat. It's the get off, I get off and feet.